I moved to America with just $1,000 in my pocket. No job lined up, no apartment waiting, no friends or family to greet me at the airport. Just a suitcase, a dream, and $1,000 to my name. You might be wondering, was it the best decision of my life or the biggest mistake ever? Well, buckle up because I'm going to walk you through exactly what happened, every challenge I faced, and the lessons I learned, so you don't have to make the same mistakes. Let's start at the very beginning. I landed at JFK Airport in New York City. I remember stepping out of the plane, feeling a mix of excitement and absolute terror. The first thing that hit me was just how big everything was. The airport itself, the crowds, even the line for taxis. I'd heard New York was expensive, but nothing could have prepared me for the reality. My first taxi ride from the airport to my motel cost me $35. That's over 3 times what I'd pay for a similar ride back in Europe. My first night, I stayed in a tiny motel room that cost $120. That's over 10% of my entire budget gone in a single night. And the room wasn't even anything special. It was small, the bed was lumpy, and the neighborhood felt a bit sketchy. But I was too tired to care. I just remember lying there, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I'd made a huge mistake. The next morning, I knew I had to act fast. I couldn't afford to spend another night in a motel. So, I started searching online for affordable housing options. I checked out Facebook groups, Craigslist, and a few expat forums. Most landlords wanted proof of income, a US credit score, or a massive deposit, none of which I had. After a few hours and a lot of rejections, I finally found a shared apartment in Brooklyn. The room was tiny, but the rent was manageable, and the roommates seemed friendly enough. The deposit set me back $200, but at least I had a roof over my head. Let's break down how my first $1,000 disappeared, almost without me noticing. $120 for that first motel night, $35 for the taxi, $15 for my first meal, a giant slice of New York pizza and a soda, $50 for a prepaid SIM card and data plan, which I needed just to stay connected, $80 for groceries to last me the week, $200 for the deposit on my shared room. After all that, I was left with just over $500. It was a sobering realization. The US is expensive, especially if you're not prepared. Living with roommates from all over the world turned out to be a blessing in disguise. We shared stories, cooked meals together, and supported each other through the culture shock. If you're moving to the US, especially on a tight budget, I highly recommend looking for shared housing. Not only is it more affordable, but you'll also have people to lean on when things get tough. But with rent and bills looming, I needed to find work, and fast. I didn't have a social security number yet, and my European qualifications didn't mean much to most employers. So, I started with odd jobs. I walked dogs for busy professionals, delivered food for a local app, and even helped people move apartments on weekends. Every dollar counted. I learned quickly that in America, hustle is everything, especially when you're starting from scratch. While I was hustling for work, I was also trying to navigate the maze of American bureaucracy. Getting a social security number took weeks. Opening a bank account was another challenge. Most banks wanted proof of address, which I didn't have until I'd been living in my apartment for a while. I ended up using an online bank that catered to newcomers, which saved me a lot of headaches. Now, let's talk about culture shock. Even though I'd visited the US before, living here was a whole different experience. Everything felt bigger, the supermarkets, the cars, the portions at restaurants. But everything was also more expensive. I quickly learned that sales tax isn't included in the price tags, so you always end up paying more than you expect at the checkout. And tipping? Don't get me started. Coming from Europe, where tipping is optional, it was a shock to realize that 15 to 20% tips are expected almost everywhere. Healthcare was another eye-opener. I didn't have health insurance when I arrived, and the cost of even a basic doctor's visit was staggering. If you're planning to move to the US, make sure you research your health insurance options in advance. It's not something you want to leave to chance. Despite all the challenges, there were some amazing moments too. I remember my first time walking through Central Park, seeing the Manhattan skyline, and realizing that I was actually living in America. I met people from all over the world, tried foods I'd never heard of, and discovered neighborhoods that felt like little slices of home. But I also made mistakes. Here are the 3 biggest ones. First, I underestimated how much money I'd need. $1,000 was barely enough to cover the basics. If I could do it again, I'd save at least $2,000 or $3,000 before making the move. That would have made things a lot less stressful. Second, I didn't sort out my housing in advance. I thought I'd be able to find something cheap and easy once I arrived, but the reality was much tougher. If you can, book at least a month in a short-term rental before you arrive. It gives you time to settle in and look for something more permanent without the pressure. Third, I didn't start networking until after I arrived. If you're a professional or entrepreneur, start reaching out to people in your industry before you move. LinkedIn, expat groups, and even cold emails to companies can help you hit the ground running. Looking back, would I do it all again? Honestly, yes. Moving to America with just $1,000 was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but it taught me resilience, resourcefulness, and the importance of community. I learned to appreciate the little victories, like getting my first paycheck, finding a favorite coffee shop, or making friends who felt like family. If you're thinking about making the move, here are my top tips. Number 1. Plan your budget carefully. Factor in hidden costs like deposits, utilities, transportation, and health insurance. Things add up fast. Number 2. Start building your network before you arrive. Join online communities, attend virtual meetups, and don't be afraid to ask for advice. Number 3. Be flexible and open-minded. Things won't always go as planned, but every challenge is an opportunity to learn and grow. Number 4. Don't be afraid to ask for help. There are tons of resources for newcomers, community centers, expat groups, and even your roommates can be a lifeline when you're feeling lost. And finally, remember that everyone's journey is different. Some people land high-paying jobs right away, others have to hustle for a while. The important thing is to keep going, stay positive, and make the most of every opportunity. So, can you move to America with just $1,000? Yes, but it's a wild ride. If you're planning your move, learn from my mistakes and prepare as much as you can. If you've got questions or want more tips, drop them in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories and advice on making your American dream a reality. Your adventure is just beginning.
Thanks for watching. We hope you found this video helpful as you prepare for your move to the United States. If you found value in the information and advice provided, please consider supporting the podcast on Patreon. Your donations will allow us to continue creating new episodes and videos to help even more people with their relocation to America. Just visit patreon.com/movingtotheus to sign up. Until next time, best of luck with your move.